Over 40 years ago, during the presidency of Ronald Reagan, the Windfall elimination provision and the government pension offset became law, resulting in the slashing of the monthly Social Security benefits of retired IAFF members and other dedicated public employees.
We paid in, we paid our Social Security, we're entitled to the benefit, and they said, no, not you.
Most people across the street don't really even understand collective bargaining. They don't understand you give up money today so you have a pension in the future. They don't really understand that, but you help them to understand it with these rallies and because you don't give up.
The WEP and GPO were created and made law for one reason and one reason alone: to reduce the Social Security benefits of public employees who worked second jobs to make ends meet, jobs where they paid into the system just like everyone else. Yet their service to the community led to these unfair penalties. For far too long, we were treated like second-class citizens. Our fight to end this robbery of retirement funds began years ago, and multiple IAFF convention resolutions called for the IAFF to right this wrong. We made it clear we would not stand by while our members lost the benefits they paid into. Repealing the WEP GPO has been a top priority since General President Kelly took office. Rally after rally, meeting after meeting, we pushed lawmakers to act, and we didn't let up, refusing to take no for an answer. It was all hands on deck. There was no other way to get this done, and we challenged our elected friends on Capitol Hill to show some backbone and stand up. We also let those on the fence know that we were tracking their every move on how they would vote on the WEP.
It's time for our leaders in the Senate to bring this to the floor, call for a vote, and let's see who's who. Who's with the middle class and who ain't?
If we were a private company and we were charging you for retirement and taking the money and using it for something else, there's a word that they use for that in law enforcement. It's called embezzling.
I didn't believe that it was possible that a country that she had served as a public servant could be stealing from her retirement benefits. I didn't think it possible. And so when I got to Congress, I said I am committed to making sure that we repeal the WEP and the GPO.
From the convention floor to Capitol Hill, the IAFF fought to end an unfair system that penalized hardworking Americans just trying to get by. Members viewed WEP GPO stories on the IAFF website over 315,000 times, and sent more than 50,000 emails to Congress through the IAFF's online advocacy center.
Because you stood up. You stood up for yourselves. You stood up for your brothers. You stood up for your sisters. We're going to make change all across this country.
I think it's ridiculous to penalize our firefighters in retirement for doing the right thing and fighting for our communities.
In September 2024, a historic discharge petition forced a House vote on the Social Security Fairness Act, only the 7th successful discharge petition in 40 years. The odds against us were astronomical. Just weeks later, the House passed the Social Security Fairness Act with overwhelming bipartisan support, 327 to 75.
Well, it's all eyes on the Senate this week to see if they vote on a bipartisan bill that would repeal certain benefit reductions for millions of retirees and their spouses. So how did this come about?
Well, as many things in Washington, lobbying. And so we had unions from firefighters, police, teachers who really went hard and said, this is really changing the way that we are planning for our own retirement. It's not fair. We're paying into one system and not the other.
And I am here to tell you, we are going to call the vote.
If you're concerned about the price tag, please talk to me about how we can afford to do right by the public servants who are being penalized by WEP and GPO, but also help our nation financially. We can do both if we have the courage to do both. But at the very least today, we can keep our promise to make Social Security fair again.
They have earned these benefits. This is an unfair, inequitable penalty. I urge my colleagues to support the Social Security Fairness Act and end this inequity once and for all.
As Christmas approached, and with the end of the legislative season literally hours away, our efforts ramped up as we camped out on Capitol Hill and worked both sides of the aisle in the Senate. Long days and nights, meetings and phone calls, refusing to give up.
Brothers and sisters, we're at the Capitol where the WEP Repeal Social Security Fairness Act just passed its first major hurdle. Keep pressure on advocating for this bill with your senators, and thank you for all your hard work.
Just after midnight on December 21st, the Senate passed the bill with a decisive 76-20 vote, clearing the way for final approval. The WEP GPO repeal is the first expansion of Social Security benefits in a generation. It's the most expensive legislation ever enacted without a dedicated funding source. And the $200 billion cost of the law tells us one thing: how much had been taken from retired firefighters and other public employees. And this success was due to all of us. Thanks to the IAFF's relentless efforts, the WEP and GPO has been repealed. Millions of retirees and their families will be better off for it. And the IAFF is stronger because of the work we all did. History was made. With the President's signature, the Social Security Fairness Act is now law, ensuring that firefighters and other public employees receive the full Social Security benefits they've earned, making good on our promise that every IAFF member can retire with dignity.